Hey guys, Lloyd here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the long-awaited Mythic Legion's Poxxus Wave Kalizyrr, or is it Kalizyrr? I lost track. It's been 2 years, cut me some slack. That said, this of course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios, and it's the first of the two brute scale figures we will be taking a look at from the Mythic Legion's Poxxus Wave, and the first of the two first brute scale figures that Horsemen Studios ever created. Both this guy and Tharnog, who we will be looking at tomorrow, were actually the first brute scale figures, but some reason we got Kalizyrr first. I don't know how that works. I will tell you there are a couple of things I feel like they could improve upon, but I will say they've come a little bit of a ways since Kalizyrr, mostly in the ankles. The ankles aren't bad on this guy. They could be better, but they're not bad. So with that being said, let's cut right to the chase. Take a look-see at Kalizyrr, whatever, accessories. Starting off with his alternate hands. He's got an open hand and a grip hand, an invert of what he already comes with. We've seen these hands before. They came with Kalizyrr there. We also have a couple smoky pew-pew thingies, or swirly twirlies, I should say. And I personally wrap these around his legs, because if he is a Jinn, it kind of makes sense. Would have been nice to get like the Jinn lower half, where he's just like a tail or whatever, but you know, they can only do so much. We also get a genie lamp, so it's kind of cool that the Jinn do come from genie lamps, these types of lamps. I will tell you, you can give this to Arazak, that mischievous little bugger that we looked at earlier this week, who I can only assume is not only the guy who released the Jinn, but also the guy who trapped them there in the first place, because he is a jerkface. That said, the last accessory, probably the coolest one, is this big friggin' gnarly, what is this, a scimitar? Scimitar, whatever you want to call it. It's got the cool dragon breathing fire up the blade. I wish I had an effect piece, but for what it is, it looks really freaking cool. Like, look at that demon face on there. That's some next level shiznit right there. I really like that. And I really like this figure. I want to say he's my favorite of the wave, other than maybe Poxxus, you know, if mine didn't watch my Poxxus review for more on that. And no, for those of you looking for a chuckle, I didn't do it during the review, so joke's on you, sucko. Taking a look. That's Kalizyrr here. He's cool as heck. I love Jinn as characters. I'm a fan of the Disney Aladdin movie, so of course I love Robin Williams as the genie. And I kind of think of this guy as that genie's more tough, gnarly, not afraid to kill a mofo cousin. Let's be real here. That said, if you are wondering, his ponytail is articulated. I put it sideways so I can fit him on the freaking screen, because the thing is massive. Oh, so massive. But it can sit behind him. Would have been nice if I had a bendy wire in it, so you could maybe get it closer to his body. His head is, of course, on the ball socket there, so he can look up. Let me turn this. Use it as a lever. Haha. He can look up, he can look down, he can tilt side to side, he can rotate side to side. And this is a strong enough peg, you can do that. You don't have to worry about it. I know it's kind of squeaky, but it's not like super gummy or anything. That said, the arms can go out to the side about that far. I will say this arm is a little bit, well, I did a little work to this one already, but it is a little loose as far as the connection. It's not like floppy. It does turn, and it's not coming out, so that's fine. It just, when I lift it up, sometimes it'll pop out. But that said, of course, you can turn at the shoulder. It's got a elbow Can bend about 90 degrees, rotate. He's got gauntlets that twist, but here's the dealio. Both this guy and Tharnog have a little gumminess on the gauntlets there. I don't know why that is either. Actually, you could pop these off too, very easily, with no heat. And the pegs themselves aren't gummy, so what I might do, I might put a dab of soap in there and see if that kind of puts an end to that. Because other than that, it feels solid when it's like super cold and a little bit less flexible, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but it is relatively warm in my room, even during the winter. But yeah, man, I'm not too sure what's going on there, but it's not like a Hasbro Marvel Legends bullcrap scenario where it's feels like it's gonna break or anything. It feels really like solid, so I'm not too worried about that. I just might put a dab of soap in there and see if that kind of resolves that issue. I remember the Centaur having this issue as well, on this side in particular, not so much the left side, but for me, the right side. I got the arm replaced and didn't really have that anymore. That said, I don't recall Kalizyrr having this issue. His gauntlets were just kind of tight. That said, he does have a hinge swivel wrist. Unfortunately, not the right hinge for holding weapons, which sucks because he does have that big R sword, which no, we're not going to put in his hand before comparisons just because it's too much of a pain in the butt. And it's too big, quite frankly. He does have a ball joint in the torso. And on this guy and Tharnog, they are a little looser. I didn't have to heat them like I did with my Kalizyrr. But I will say, if yours is a little loose, you could probably heat it, pinch it closed, let it freeze overnight, and then pop it back in there and it'll be a little tighter. I don't know if that'll 100% fix the problem, but I've done that a couple times with a 1.0, and it definitely works. That said, you can get a little tilt out of that, as well as rotation. Rotation's nice and tight. I like that about these bigger dudes. That said, his hips can kick out to the side about that far before you start bumping into the clothes. He's got like upgraded Monkey King soft goods. I wasn't a big fan of the Monkey King soft goods. I didn't think they were like trash or anything. I just thought they were a little, I don't know, a little weak maybe. His feel pretty solid. I did have to clip a wire right up around here where it kind of connects, but once I did that, it problem solved. I didn't have any problems after that. Not the first time I had to do that with one of these figures either. He's got a thigh cut. He could kick forward and back. I will say the hips feel a little tighter on this guy. And funny enough, these guys have ball socket hips, like the ogres. I thought they had disc hinges like the 1.0s. They do not. So that is very interesting. I didn't realize that before, but hey, you know what? You learn something new every day. That said, he's got this nice like gold trim. I don't know if this is painted or what, but it looks really nice. He's got a swivel below the knee. He's got a single knee. Unlike Kalizyrr, I don't gotta worry about screwing up the robotic piston on the front. Which, by the way, I did get a replacement piece for that. He does have a swivel in the foot, as well as a rocker and a hinge. But again, this side's not bad. This side is a little loose. A little. It's not horrible. I don't think I'm going to get this one replaced, but if I do, I wouldn't be surprised. Because I will say, this one definitely feels a little tighter. But it almost feels like the type of joint, as you move it, it gets looser, but then it will stiffen up if you leave it alone. So I don't know what's going on there. Some weird science. Weird. But, yeah, because see, this one's a little bit floppier than this one. I don't know. I might get his foot replaced for this side. It's only this side. And even when I do that, there's like no friction over here. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of the brute scale ankles. I think they could stand to be a little bit tighter. I might get that foot replaced. I don't know. But that said, there are peg holes at the bottom of the feet in case you do want to throw them on a stand. And then he does have the peg holes on the back for the pauldrons, but he doesn't come with any. But of the brute scale figures, I think good old Kalizyrr is my favorite. I like him a lot. I think he's really cool. It's awesome to finally have a Djinn in the realm of Mythos. It's been a long time coming. I've seen people make custom Djinn with orcs, and while those look really cool, shout out to a friend of the channel, Patrick Boyle. He did a really cool Djinn custom back in the day. Let me actually do this. It might take up less room. I do like the Djinn being a little bigger. I always imagine a Djinn character being a little taller in stature, and this guy does not disappoint. Just need to tweak some things with the brute scale body mold, and I think we'll be good to go, ready to rock, whatever you want to call it. So with that being said, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Kalizyrr. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, whatever you want to call it, alongside another member of the Poxxus, who's a little bit more standard as far as scaling goes, size and stature and whatnot. We have Erizak, who I do believe is responsible for trapping the Djinn in the lamps in the first place, kind of bamboozled them, releasing them, and now they're evil, bad guys working for Poxxus. I kind of think there's some tomfoolery going on there. Then we have the other brute scale figure from the Mythic Legion's Poxxus wave, Tarnog, who is an orc shaman from the Congregation of Basilia, who definitely does have a loose right ankle, so I'm definitely going to have to contact customer service about that. He is very tricky to stand. Thankfully, the back weight and the forward weight kind of balances itself out, so I'm able to get him to stand for the video, but still a little tricky. Also, he's got the war paint head. What are you going to do? That said, gonna get him out of here. He's a big manga halo with all those extras too, by the way. As well as Erizak, who's on a figure stand just for my convenience, so I don't go nuts trying to stand him up. This, of course, would be incomplete if we didn't bring in Brother Mandibulas right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who ain't towering over everyone today, because while Spawn is pretty sizable compared to a lot of stuff I review, which is usually a 6-inch scale, he ain't a brute scale like good old Kalizyrr, whatever you want to call it here. So, with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and while I'm still unsure who is my favorite figure out of the Mythic Legion's Poxxus wave, I can tell you that out of 4 Horsemen Studios, good old Kalizyrr here is my favorite brute scale figure. And in my opinion, with this one, despite the fact that I would have liked an effect for his, what was that, a scimitar? I don't know, it's as big as he is. Other than an effect for that, he is the complete package. You get some effect parts, you get some alt hands, you get a cool looking weapon, you even get a little genie lamp for that mischievous little Erizak to rub 3 times and unleash this demonic entity of evil upon the world of Mythos. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.